All right, you're watching TVC Breakfast. It's time for us to see the headlines across Nigerian newspapers. Let's see what they are and what the papers are saying. So to do justice to all that, I have with me two lawyers who are regulars on a day like this. Jide Ologun is here. Jide, good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
And, happy holidays, compliments of the season.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I have Tunji Abdulhameed here as well. Tunji, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Great.
Yes.
Now let's begin with the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian says, prepare for another pandemic. COVID-19 won't be the last, UN warns. All right, and massive new bird flu outbreak could be 2022's deadly pandemic. And 10 million Nigerians get first dose as WHO laments missing global 40% vaccination target. And China and Germany impose new lockdowns to curb Omicron. That's the Guardian newspaper. Daily Trust is next, and he says, Obasanjo to quack. Niger Delta can't claim oil ownership while in Nigeria. Insists on resources belonging to the country. Ex-president, right, Professor Carey is saying this. Okay, we'll be talking about this because this has generated a lot of reactions recently between former President Olusegun Obasanjo and elder statesman Edwin Clark. First News is next, and he says, crude oil saga. Obasanjo denies hatred for Niger Delta region. Okay, says Edwin Clark got him wrong. Ex-president still insists region can't lay claim to oil wealth. Okay, that's what the First News says. From there, let's go to this Nigeria. Elder statesman at war, or elder statesmen at war. Obasanjo Clark in verbal punches. Ex-president counter claims on hatred for the Niger Delta, and resource control argument resurfaces. All this on the front page of this Nigeria. Now let's go to Nigerian Tribune. Nigerian Tribune says Obasanjo replies Edwin Clark, oil, other minerals don't belong to locations they exist, but to Nigeria. The constitution that affects Niger Delta region affects Zamfara state where gold is found. And if anybody at the federal level has remissed in implementing the constitution, then that is a different matter. Those are all the issues, the argument around that. Okay, we'll talk about it, of course. Now from there, let's go to the Nation newspaper. The Nation says, oil belongs to Nigeria, not Niger Delta, says Obasanjo. Ex-president tackles Clark. I bear no grudge against the region. Okay, from there, let's go to the Daily Sun. Okay, Daily Sun says Buhari inherited $550 billion economy from Jonathan, says ex-minister. Wow. Buhari inherited $550 billion economy from Jonathan, says ex-minister. Accuses Amechi of lying, misleading Nigerians on money left behind by former president. Clark faults Lai Mohammed on insurgency fight under Jonathan. All right, it's a back and forth there. Recall that the Minister of Transport had said that the monies left in the coffers of the government by the previous president would not have served Nigeria for 3 days. But it's okay, these are all responses back and forth there. That's Daily Sun. Let's go to Leadership newspaper. Southeast political bigwigs eyeing 2023 presidency. All right, Southeast political bigwigs eyeing 2023 presidency. And you can see the pictures of a lot of them there, several of them, okay, on the front page of the Leadership newspaper. Okay. From there, let's go to the Punch newspaper. The Punch is talking about 2023 electronic transmission of results doubtful. 301 local governments lack internet facilities. Only 473 local governments have internet access. Federal government plans additional 224 local governments by 2023. Okay, experts say satellite technology can cover local governments without internet. INEC can use other platforms where internet is not available, says Olurode. Okay, these are all the issues. But anyway, INEC has always conducted elections in all local governments in the country. So, all right, that's the Punch newspaper. Let's go to Blueprint. Electoral Act Amendment Bill, that's the focus here. Buhari's assent would have wasted taxpayers' money. Presidency is saying this. That's Blueprint. Daily Times is next. Again, presidency justifies Buhari's rejection of Electoral Act Amendment Bill. Says action meant to protect Nigeria's democracy from money bag parties, including APC. Okay, that's the Daily Times. Daily Independent is next, and it says patronage of POS dips as customers return to ATM and others. That's the Daily Independent. All right, Nigeria News Direct is next now, and it says federal government seeks, Nigeria News Direct is next, and it says federal government seeks 348.1 trillion naira to create 21 million jobs in 5 years and to lift 35 million out of poverty. Okay. All right. That's talking about the National Development Plan that has been talked about. So let's go to Business Day. Business Day says 2021 in review, 11 key moments of 2021. Okay. 11 key moments of 2021. So when you read the breakdown, you see some of the milestones, whether positive or negative milestones, that defined the country in 2021. National economy is next. Budget implementation, subsidy removal, others to share Nigeria's economy in 2022. That's national economy. And the last we're looking at now is the Vanguard newspaper, and it's focusing on the budgets. 26 states eye more capital projects in 2022. All right, that's a breakdown. And the federal government, 10 states to spend more on recurrent expenditure. Federal government, 36 states to spend 26.6 trillion naira in 2022. Allocate more funds to recurrent expenditure despite worsening development indices. North Central, Northeast propose least budgets, and Southwest, South propose highest budgets. North Central, Northeast to spend more on recurrent expenditure than capital, and Southeast and Northwest states allocate more funds to capital expenditure. So it's just a breakdown of how the budget character looks like in 2022 as presented by the Houses of Assembly to the governors, and the governors passing them as law. All right, that's the Vanguard newspaper. Good. Now let's get into the discussion now. Jide and Tunji, we have this issue where there has been war of words between the two elder statesmen, former President Olusegun Obasanjo and Chief Edwin Clark, on who owns the Niger Delta, minerals in the Niger Delta. And that debate has been going back and forth. You recall the days of resource control and so on. Fingers are pointed to Zamfara State in the area of gold that is being mined, where the federal government was talking about buying it, and stuff. So the debate goes on. But this is the issue of the law now. In fact, I'm glad both of you are here. Jide, let me start with you on this. Yeah. Who owns the minerals in the Niger Delta? Nigeria or Niger Delta states?
Constitutionally, Nigeria under the exclusive legislative list, and that is sacrosanct. So whether the resource is located in Ondo State, for instance, where you have the second largest deposit of bitumen in the whole world, or the gold that can fetch the state, if we have embraced regionalism and true federalism, about $2 billion annually, they all belong to the federal government. And I think the argument now is just a reflection of the failure of managing these resources over the years. The Commonwealth should be for the common good, because when you read these arguments, they are all wealthy, all those who are arguing. So what have you done with the resources? Oil was discovered in commercial quantity in 1956. What have we done with it today? The UAE discovered oil in 1958. Look at where the country is now. So I think the focus should shift more to how can we, going forward, maximize these resources. I just mentioned Ondo State, for instance. The fact that the second largest deposit of bitumen in the world is located in Ondo State does not guarantee that all the roads in Ondo State are good. In fact, they lament so much about some of the roads. So I think it's a leadership question, and I'm so glad that in their own lifetime they are saying, when you look at all of them, they have all been involved in enjoying the outflows of our resources. And I think if in their lifetime they have seen Nigeria become the capital of poverty, they should start the engagement and the communication that will reposition us on the path of prosperity. The United States of America has about 147 functional refineries, and when you look at the world, there are big oil producers. You talk about Russia, you talk about you talk about Canada, you talk about the USA, Saudi Arabia. They are wealthy nations, and Nigeria has been the largest producer of oil in Africa, but recently Libya took over. And so what can we show for it? And I think that is where our discussion should be.
All right. Now, Tunji, when it comes to, like he said, in the eyes of the law, every natural resource in the country belongs to the federal government. And but this debate of Niger Delta, our oil, has been on that led to a lot of agitations in the past and all of that. Of course, the elder statesmen know what the law is, but why do you think that this debate is going on in the first place?
Yeah, I think I want to agree with you that the mineral resources in Nigeria, by virtue of a constitution and other land use act and other laws, belong to Nigeria. But we're having this debate because of probably lack of the injustice and the way and manner things have been done in this country. We are in this country where we are told that a particular state is mining gold and is selling it on its own, which I'm thinking in that regard that may be one of the reasons why this debate is coming out, because if you say all mineral resources belong to the Federal Republic of Nigeria or whatever, and you allow a particular state to on its own mine his own gold, sell it by himself, and in fact at the time we are told that CBN wants to purchase part of the gold in that regard. So they see it as injustice and inequality. I think that may be the reason why Baba Clark is saying what he's saying. But I want to agree with Obasanjo that, look, even if that is the case, as an elder statesman, you don't condone illegality because somebody is doing it, and you say we should also be doing it. We must work in line with the law. And we are today in Nigeria because we have often ignored the law. We only resort to the law where it favors, particularly the government. Whenever it favors their interests, that's when they remember that we have a constitution or we have a law. But whenever it does not do that, they go elsewhere and talk about national interest in that regard. So probably injustice, inequality, and the discrimination in terms of application of mineral resources, or the management of mineral resources, may likely be the reason why Baba Clark is saying what he's saying, which I think it should be looked into. It's not proper for you to look away why a particular state is mining and enjoying its own mineral resources within a state, and why other resources are being gathered from other states are being used for the benefit of everybody. That is injustice. That's inequality, and that's not be condoned. And I think that is the reason why they may be thinking in that regard. Okay,
Jide, we often refer to many of our leaders as elder statesmen, and that's what they are, of course. But when we look at it from the perspective of the experience and the wealth of knowledge and exposure that they have, you made reference to all the other countries who have had oil, who have utilized them well and all of that. Yet we have Nigeria still remaining where it is. And in the indices, when you put in the rankings of all of the countries that have utilized their oil very well in the past 2, 3, 4, 5 decades, Nigeria is amongst the bottom countries that have not utilized it very well from the rankings that we saw. What do you think is at the crux of this? Because from the time that oil was discovered up until now, those who have been ministers of petroleum, those who have been presidents or heads of states, those who have been, economic or petroleum advisors, were all people who had experience, who had knowledge, who had all of those things, who are so exposed and traveled. In fact, we've been part of OPEC since the days of almost independence.
I'll make reference to 3 solid points. The first one is absence of unity, which is reflected in this argument now. Nigeria has not been able to synchronize, to realize that we are better together when we allow the wealth to go around. So that is why you will argue that, okay, the Petroleum Industry Act releases 3% to host communities, 30% to frontier communities where you are pursuing. That is why we argue, why are we making railway line to Niger Republic when Nigeria is in poverty? So if we have, as a nation, since 1960, decided to synchronize, it should be better. Amos chapter 3 verse 3 says, can two walk together except they be agreed? So that is number 1. Let's look at number 2. Chief Olusegun Obasanjo made reference that he worked with Chief Edwin Clark in 1975, and he has not changed. I know, even when Chief Olusegun Obasanjo was the military head of state, our present president, President Muhammadu Buhari, and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, they have been playing key roles in the oil and gas sector. In fact, currently, my President Muhammadu Buhari is the substantive minister in charge of petroleum resources.
And he was also
exactly
in the 70s.
So when you talk about the experience, we have overflowing experience to prosper Nigeria. But I stand to say, and I own my opinion, that there is no love of governance. That's why you see all this stampede. We go to parties. Have you ever heard a caterer complaining that I don't have food to eat? It never happens, Mr. Mike. So you go to some host communities, you are sick. And like Barrister Abdulhameed brilliantly mentioned, what led to the militancy in the South? Because some young guys just went to Abuja and saw what the wealth of Nigeria is being used for. And they said, all our development, they are in the pipeline. And they started breaking the pipelines. You see, so if we sit down, I did a research. I think Saudi Arabia exports about over 6,000 barrels of oil regularly. In this country, this argument is a distraction. Within their circle, perhaps, we find the oil chiefs who steal oil running into billions and trillions of naira. So why should our refineries, I just told us America has about 147 refineries functional. And the 4 refineries we have, we spend enough money to build new refineries to turn around moribund refineries. So I see poverty of governance here. When you talk about resources, Nigeria is the greatest country in the world. Go and look at Venezuela. I just mentioned some countries. They are doing well. Singapore left Malaysia in 1965. Far after
although Venezuela has been going through a lot of challenges in the last few years.
This man mismanagement. I'm talking about when God empowers a community. And let's come back to Chief Edwin Clark. I think his own argument was prompted by the 1963 Constitution that created regionalism. And then you could have 50% derivative and you could manage your police, manage resources in your region. And if that has been the case, and that's the hot argument now about restructuring, that okay, Ondo State you have bitumen, you have cocoa. Cocoa was the mainstay of the economy of Southwest region. In years past.
You can't forget the cocoa house.
You know what I mean? So manage your bitumen. Maybe by now, Ondo State will be exporting bitumen. And one of the governors recently, the governor recently was pushing the agenda for exportation of, now. So that, and if you now think that, on a lighter mood, that banditry is what is peculiar to your region. Export banditry to whoever wants to go. If you think education is important to you, invest in education. If you think you want the presidents of the world to come to your region for Medicare, then invest in it. This is what the UAE has done. They have created education cities, health cities, this one and this, and they are attracting wealth. And we sit on wealth, and we are experiencing poverty.
So for all of them, and again, it's all this recycling. Who was the president of America when Chief Olusegun Obasanjo was the military head of state of Nigeria? Do you still hear that president prominent? So we just need to ask for, you know, I don't, maybe a political or whatever economic intervention to reposition us as a nation. All right. Recently they were telling us that somebody took $16 million electricity money. Yeah. You see, Christmas, some societies don't have electricity to enjoy. What are we talking about? Okay,
Tunji, if you recall, it was in this country that we heard one head of state at the time said that the challenge we have is how to spend the money that we have. That we don't have a problem of money. The challenge we have, or the problem we have, is how to spend it. That period of time that the statement was made, was said to have been made, was said to have been made exactly, was the same period of time that Dubai and the other countries that he mentioned were trying to, you know, put things together and rebuild, and all of that with the resources that they have. Now, if a lot of people still say we still have the same kind of resources that we have always had. Nigeria still remains the beautiful bride it has always been since the 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s up until now. But if you check the livelihood, the standard of living and all of that, you see that in the last decades, every decade it goes down, every decade it goes down. What do we have to do here to really turn around where we're going, from where we're going?
Well, I think I'm one of those who believe Nigeria is not a poor country, and that we have been having problems because of mismanagement and selfish interest by certain people. And we allow those people in charge now, and contrary to what Mr. Ologun said, that the Obasanjo and co are still prominent today. They are prominent because people like Mr. Ologun, who are brilliant, are not interested in it. So people who are interested are the one that will be there. So as long as those who believe they have the intelligence, they have the brilliancy, they have everything, see it as a game of rogues, a game of wicked people, a game of people who doesn't have a sense, then they will continue to be permanent, and they will continue to be there. So I'm encouraging by Ologun now to also think twice and see how it can work his talk. I'm there. Talking alone. We need to be part of it. So sincerely speaking, on the serious note now, you see, we have a country whereby we have people who are not interested in other people. They are not interested in governance. They are only interested in what will come to their pocket. We are in this country when a particular person said he has enough money that he doesn't even know what to do with the money. When you have so many people around you who are wallowing in poverty, and you say you have so much money and you don't know what to do about it, that is the greed we are talking about in this country. We have people in the country, elderly people who are going who are closer to their grave, still thinking about how to pack billions of naira. You know, that's selfish interest, and that is what has been killing us. And unfortunately, like I said again, the youth and the other people who are supposed to be in charge to ask questions are not interested. Until we are all interested, until we all participate, until we all see governance as our business, then there may not be a serious change in this regard.
Well, Jide, the issue of the youth, that's another question altogether. The point there is some youths who are called to be, or are said to be youths. We've celebrated some leaders in this country who, the youngest this and the youngest that and the youngest this, the youngest person to be this and youngest person to be that, as the case may be. Even currently, there are still some persons who say, oh, this is the youngest. How differently are they doing when it comes to, oh, this person is a youth, so let's give youth a chance? Is it by being young?
I think it's more of a function of values.
Okay.
Because we've also asked some questions. Why do some of these young ones get in there? And contrary to expectations, the performance runs in a different direction. So it's the mindset. We need to establish a system that is all-embracing, a system that we accommodate everyone. And I advise this morning, can our great audience look at Section 14 to Section 18 of Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended. It even says that the economy should be operated in a way that it does not concentrate wealth in the hands of a few. So what do we have? Like Barrister Abdulhameed said, even when the young ones go in there, the entrance induction, the amount required, the mentality of, I will first settle myself, may prevent us. So whether it's a young leader or an old leader. We need a transformational leadership that will help us. Look at what happened in Rwanda. Rwanda was in a big mess. He has always been one of them, Paul Kagame. And when he got the opportunity of leading, he transformed everything, worked on the psyche of the people, eradicated ethnicity, revived the economy. Look at what John Magufuli started in Tanzania before he passed on.
Yeah.
And in fact, the present president now, who is even a lady, appears to be tougher than John Magufuli. So it's about the mindset. You know, I won't mention the name of the state where somebody came in, I was doing, you know, giant strides, and suddenly they said, no, you cannot continue. And you can go and look at those things he was trying to put in place that could have sanitized the society. They are now backsliding. So we need a system that says, this is where we are going. This is how we want to get there. If you come in and you don't want to play in line with the system itself will push you out. Like we witnessed during the recent election in the USA. So and that's why some are saying that the structure we have right now, whether you put an old man there or a young man, except you have a transformational leader, that is when we can begin to make
how do we get the same change?
All right.
Don't
worry. I mean,
there's no way we can change the system without participation.
Yeah,
well, it will not change itself.
That transformational leader will not come from heaven.
Now, the president has decided.
Although we have to leave.
The president has decided not to assent to the bill, the Electoral Act Amendment Bill. That is the power of presidency. There's so much power there. So if my president wants security in Nigeria in 9 months, it's possible.
All right. We have to leave it here now. So many things about Nigeria that we can talk about and we can proffer solutions to. And we hope that we will get there someday. Jide Ologun, thank you so much for your time.
God bless Nigeria.
Thank you very much. God bless Nigeria. Thank you so much, Tunji Abdulhameed, for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Happy New Year in advance.
Very good. You have challenged him to get involved. He said he's involved.
And he knows now.
I want him to be involved physically.
Okay,
not
you want me your party?
I don't know what I'm talking about.